Today is the last day of 2022. The awards for the top 10 plants in my collection, in no particular order. The first plant I'm going to show you is my Alocasia green velvet. I am loving my Alocasia green velvet. Look at those leaves. This plant has there's actually quite a number of plants in this pot, like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's about 6 or 7. I've had a lot of corms germinate. This plant had actually gone dormant and I thought it was dying, but it has rejuvenated and it's looking fantastic. It was previously living in Leca. I've moved it to pond and I've given it a very shallow reservoir. And as you can see, this reservoir is actually dry at the moment. So I do give it some dry periods, and I think that's what's been the secret to keeping my green velvet happy. Look at those distinctive white veins against that velvety green background. It's just fabulous. I think, touch wood, cross fingers, I think I have finally cracked the code for this particular plant and I know what makes it happy. And maybe I can now get myself a variegated one. I was not going to spend hundreds of dollars, maybe $100, on a plant that I was just eventually going to kill. But I think now maybe I might just get one. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Next up is my variegated watermelon peperomia. This plant has been on my wish list for a very long time. I finally got it, and when I got it, it had, I don't know, maybe 4 leaves. It was pretty small. This is what she looked like when I got her. She was living in soil, and I took the risk and I moved her to Leca. She's living in a Lechuza pot, self-watering pot. That's the little thing there. That's my Lechuza pot, living in Leca. You can see the Leca balls there, and this plant is thriving. This plant is happy. It's constantly giving me new leaves. I'm really happy about how this plant is going. That's the insert there. I made some holes in the Lechuza insert just to make sure that my roots are getting the air that they need, and that's the little self-watering wick. This plant is really happy, I think, and I'm really glad that I finally got her in my collection, and I hope she gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Next up is my pink panther plant. I don't think you guys would have seen this one before. This is my pink panther plant. It's my Callisia Repens, or my Callisia pink lady. It is glorious. I saw this plant on Instagram and oh my God, it looked fabulous and I had to have it. I got 2 small plants that were still living in soil, put them in pond. This plant is living in pond in this Deltini Lechuza pot, and it is loving life. It was pretty tiny when I put it in this pot. Look at this picture here, but it's getting bigger and bigger, and those little stems are just going everywhere. Pretty soon they're going to be trailing down and completely cover up this pot. What's really important with this plant is you need to give it some good bright light, because if it's got that good bright light, it's going to maintain that pink, that distinctive pink color, and it's going to look beautiful. If the light is not as good as it would like it to be, it starts to turn a bit more green because it needs to make more food. So the more light you give your plant, the pinker it will become. In your quest for pink leaves, make sure you're not burning those very delicate leaves as well. That there is my pink panther plant, my Callisia Repens. You did know that a Hoya was coming up, didn't you? And I had to, oh gosh, it was really hard to pick a particular Hoya that made me feel so good, but this Hoya Leca, this Hoya Australis Leca just had to be the one. And the reason I picked this plant is because it's been on my wish list for a very long time. I've been wanting this plant for so long, could not get it. It was so expensive before. And look at that now, it's on that trellis. There's 2 stems there. Oh my gosh, look at this beauty. The colors on this plant are just amazing. This plant is living in Leca. It's living in my Italian Leca. That's its roots. Hang on. That's its root system there. It's doing really, really well. I'm very, very happy with this plant. When I bought this plant, it would have been quite expensive, but one of the big things of 2022 is the fact that there were a lot of plants that were previously rare that have become very, very available in Australia anywhere. So because of that, I walk into my local Bunnings and bam, there is a Hoya Lisa. And there's so many of them all over the country, really, really big specimens costing next to nothing really when you think about how much they cost before. And of course I had to get one because I couldn't just walk past the Hoya Lisa. So I recently got this one and just moved it to Leca. So this one is still getting used to living in Leca, but you know, it's giving me new leaves. There's tiny, tiny leaves coming there. There's tiny, tiny leaves coming there. So I think this plant is actually quite happy. Once this plant gets more leaves, I might put it in with the other Lisa, or maybe I'll let this one trail and let the other one have a trellis. I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you think? Let me know. What do you think I should do? Should I let this one trail, or should I put it on the trellis with my other Lisa? Let me know in the comments below. If you find this video interesting, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Next up is another wish list plant for me. This one is my Begonia White Ice. Oh my goodness. Look at those angel wing shaped leaves. Those white snow-like drops on those green leaves are just to die for. Oh my goodness, and I really love this pot that I put it in. It's got those little dots as well, so dots, dots, dots everywhere. I absolutely love this Begonia White Ice. When I got this plant, it was living in soil. I propagated it, I put it in Leca, and this is what we now have. There's 2 plants living on this trellis, and this plant is going to be a showstopper. I think she already is, but once she gets bigger, she's going to be absolutely fantastic. That one is my Begonia White Ice. Absolutely glorious. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, Nora, where are the moss poles? What's happening? I gotcha there. This one is my Manjula, Epipremnum Manjula. I love this plant. There's only one plant on this moss pole, but this plant is doing so well. This is how I started. It was a 1-leafer. When I got this plant, it was literally 1 leaf. And this is how things are going so far. Look at the size of that leaf. That's my hand there. It is absolutely fabulous. Look at the patterns on that. Oh my gosh, I'm in absolute awe. And this is the new leaf there. It's just like a painting. It's like a picture. Obviously, I need to extend this moss pole. I've been moving house, so I haven't had too much time to take care of my plants. But every time I look at this plant, it puts a smile on my face, and that's why she makes my top 10 of 2022. This is my Epipremnum Manjula. Let's bring in a philodendron, shall we? This is my Philodendron White Knight. I've been looking for this plant everywhere. I finally got her a few months ago. Look at that burgundy stem. It is absolutely beautiful. I transitioned this plant to Leca a few months ago, and she's doing absolutely smashingly, and that is a new leaf that's just about to emerge over there. She's doing really, really well, and I cannot wait for her to grow. When that new leaf comes out, I'm probably going to put this plant up on a moss pole so it can grow bigger and have some support and just shine. That is my Philodendron White Knight. This is another Hoya here. This is my Hoya Deykae. I think it's Deykae. I don't know. Anyway, whatever it's called, look at those reptilian leaves. Oh my goodness. You know, I saw this plant and I was like, yes, yes. The freakier the leaves look, the more I want it. And so I got this Hoya, and I transitioned this plant from soil to Leca probably a month ago now. I think things are going well. As long as the leaves are looking good. They're feeling nice and firm. Everything looks fine. I'm calling that a successful transition. I can't see any roots yet, but you know, still lots of time for that to happen. But this is my Hoya Deykae, and every time I look at those leaves, I just, oh my gosh, they feel so bumpy and they look so Jurassic. It's brilliant. I absolutely love this Hoya. I cannot wait to have more of those leaves, and this plant is just going to be an absolute beast. I've got another little Epipremnum. This one is my Shangri-La. Oh, look at those little leaves. They are just so precious. It is just such a glorious little plant. It looks absolutely magnificent. I recently got this plant, and this is a plant that I've been looking for quite some time. I had the opportunity to buy one, and I did. There's 2 plants in there, and I've just put it in Leca. And I think you can see there's a little root coming through there. And once the plant settles in, there's a few more roots there. I'm gonna put this up on a moss pole, of course, and I'm gonna let her climb and do her thing. And can you imagine those leaves on the moss pole? So there's 2 plants in here. I put them on the moss pole, and oh my God, it is going to be absolutely glorious. Last but not least is a Monstera. I'll bring out my Monstera Aurea. This here is my Monstera Aurea. This is her newest leaf, and she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's got 6 leaves at the moment. Look at that. Look at that. That is just epic. Look at her. This plant is going from strength to strength, living on a moss pole, living in Leca. That's her reservoir over there. The next leaf that's going to come, I'm pretty sure will have more fenestrations. I cannot wait to see how this plant is going to go. It was a very difficult list to compile, but these are some of the plants that gave me a lot of joy in 2022. I'm looking forward to all the good things that 2023 will bring, and I hope you will join me for the ride. One of the things I'm looking to do is expand my philodendron collection, because I think that is not where I would like it to be. So take a look at the philodendrons that I've got in this next video. I'll see you there.